Come on in, guys. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about the cruelest twists in Survivor history. These aren't your run-of-the-mill tribe swaps or redemption islands. These are twists specifically designed to unfairly harm whoever's unlucky enough to be on the receiving end of them. No one ever said that Survivor's a fair game, but some of these are just downright mean. Why you so mean, Jeff?
So, I'm just wondering how you would react if I offered you a phone call home.
Hells yeah.
It's not gonna happen today. I was just curious how you'd react.
Oh my God, that's cool of you too, Jeff.
So, I'll be counting down the 5 most malicious twists in Survivor history, from cruel to downright sadistic. I've covered mean twists before in a video on Survivor players most screwed by twists, but surprisingly, there are a number of twists that fit this bill but not that bill. So some of these will be brand new territory. In the interest of brevity, I'll be excluding particularly cruel advantages, so things like Jamal's mysterious hanging note and Michelle's juror removal advantage won't be included, even though those are both, well, ridiculous. All that said, let's count down Survivor's 5 cruelest twists of all time. The 5th meanest twist in Survivor history is the first impressions twist used in Survivor Tocantins, Blood vs. Water, and Cagayan. This is a twist that, at best, wildly disadvantages a player right off the bat, and at worst, literally removes them from the game proper within seconds. This twist first showed up in Tocantins, where Jeff holds a vote seconds into the game and implies that the person voted out will be, voted out. Then he pulls the old probe switcheroo, revealing after everyone's voted that Sierra and Sandy, the 2 votees, just won't have to make the grueling trek to camp and instead can just fly there via helicopter instead. Of course, this robbed Sierra and Sandy of valuable bonding time with their tribe mates, a tough burden to carry 15 minutes into the game. This twist then returned in its meanest form in Blood vs. Water, where again, each tribe was tasked with immediately voting someone out. Except this was like a legit vote out, sending the 2 top vote getters to Redemption Island, where they'd have to live for 19 days and eliminate 9 other players in duels just to re-enter the game. A tall order for anyone, let alone Laura Boneham. And Laura was indeed the evictee from her tribe, but thankfully, in the most Rupert-y move of all time, Rupert swapped spots with his wife, taking her place on Redemption Island and sending her to his old tribe. And they say chivalry's dead. This twist's biggest victim by far was Candace on Galang, who joined the cast literally a day before the season began after RC from Survivor Philippines and her father dropped out at the last second. This meant that Candace was an easy target for immediate eviction on a cast that had pre-game alliances out the wazoo. Finally, First Impressions returned the very next season in Cagayan in what is easily its fairest application. In Cagayan, the tribes elected a leader, and then that leader was chosen to pick the weakest player on their team, who got to arrive at camp early and then make the decision between an idle clue or a bag of rice for their tribe. Okay, I can live with that, but it's this twist's initial 2 outings, particularly Blood vs. Water, that are just downright cruel. Voting someone out immediately only incentivizes 2 kinds of behavior: dogpiling your vote onto whoever stands out as the physically weakest, or throwing your vote away on someone who's obviously not going to be the tribal consensus. That means that petite women or women over 40 are just naturally going to be targeted right off the bat. And it's no wonder that in the first 2 uses of this twist, all 4 people voted out were women, and women received the vast majority of votes for elimination across all 3 uses. It's an artificial attempt to create a storyline out of overcoming a bad first impression. But I really think you could only argue that Trish ever paid that storyline off. I see where the idea was born out of, but the cruelty of holding an immediate vote out and the inadvertent sexism that comes along with it means it's just too mean for my taste. The 4th meanest twist in Survivor history is the 2 to 3 tribe expansion, first seen in Cambodia and then subsequently in Millennials vs. Gen X, Game Changers, Ghost Island, Edge of Extinction, and Winners at War. Wow, they really, really, really love this twist, don't they? Tribe expansions randomly punish whoever's unlucky enough to get swapped to the new tribe, sending them to a new beach to completely start over from scratch. It's no wonder that the brand new third tribe frequently struggles, especially shortly after the swap, as the other two tribes have shelter and reward items that Tribe 3 simply doesn't have because, they didn't exist. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm pro tribe swap, and I understand that tribe swaps are never fair. There's a reason that some of Survivor's biggest what-if characters and storylines are swap-screwed players, and that's totally fine. Swaps also help prevent the game from ending in a post-merge pagonging. Usually. But the 2 to 3 tribe expansion makes it so much easier to get swap screwed, and throwing in the additional element of having to completely rebuild your camp along with your relationships means the new tribe will just be at a huge disadvantage right out of the gate. Unless it has, these dudes on it. Speaking of getting screwed by being on a tribe with no supplies, the third cruelest twist ever on Survivor is the entire haves versus have-nots twist in Survivor Fiji. Even Survivor acknowledges the cruelty of this twist. Episode 1 is literally titled, "Something Cruel is About to Happen Real Soon." Sure is.
Awesome. This is awesome. This place is so nice.
It's amazing.
I'm glad we lost.
Fiji's first immunity challenge is perhaps the highest stakes tribal immunity challenge in Survivor history, with the winner getting to check into Hotel Moto, a camp with a couch, canopy, cutlery, hammock, shower, and teacups. This camp would cost $2,200 a month to rent in Seattle. For the losers, a pot and a machete. This camp would cost $1,200 a month to rent in Seattle. I'm not bitter. Unsurprisingly, Ravu, the Have-Nots tribe, lost every single pre-merge immunity challenge. I'm not sure why Survivor ever thought Reaganomics was a good idea for a season theme, but this is also the era of dividing tribes by their race, so yeah, on brand at least. Don't worry, Ravu, that wealth will trickle down any day now. The proof is in the pudding on this one. Only 2 players were ever eliminated from Moto, the Lap of Luxury tribe. The first was Gary, who quit due to an illness, and the second was Liliana, who was voted out as a result of a twist that forced Moto to either give up their luxurious camp or vote out a member. Alright, that is peak capitalism right there. Sorry, Liliana, we really, really, really want to keep our wealth. You're a small price to pay. And while we're here, let's all pour one out for Rocky, Anthony, and Mookie, who started on Ravu and then remained on Ravu at the swap. That is just the worst luck. I'm just confused by what they thought would happen. Did they really think that the poor tribe would pull themselves up by their bootstraps and win? Ultimately, wildly ill-conceived, and having a tribe living in squalor competing against a tribe living in the Survivor Hilton is just super cold-hearted. The second meanest twist in Survivor history is the giving up reward twist seen in Survivor Guatemala and Survivor Caramoan. Let's start with the less cruel iteration of this twist in Guatemala, when Cindy won a Pontiac Torrent at the Final 5 reward challenge, only to be given the opportunity to give up her brand new car so each of the other 4 players can have one. And to really ensure that this will damage Cindy's game should she refuse to give her car up, they actually drive out the 4 extra cars and park them right in front of everyone. Do you want to jangle the keys in front of their faces too, Jeff? Even meaner is this twist's appearance at the Caramoan Loved Ones Challenge, where Brenda and her father Raymond win reward, some time away from the game out on the water with some burgers and beers. Jeff then announces that Brenda can give up her loved one's visit so everyone else can have their reward instead. And to really twist the knife, he says that everyone actually has 2 loved ones waiting for them. Whereas Cindy actually chose to keep her car, Brenda gave up her visit with her loved one, and both were rewarded with a blindside later that episode. So future survivors, you know what to do. If this happens to you, you're getting voted out regardless. Keep the reward.
Think about you guys when I see the stars through my sunroof with my new car.
Winning a reward should never unexpectedly come with a punishment, especially when it's on the best reward of the season. And so this cursed monkey's paw of a reward remains Survivor's second cruelest twist ever. The meanest twist in Survivor history is the Day 2 schoolyard pick in Survivor Palau that resulted in Wanda and Jonathan being eliminated from the game almost immediately. Here it is, the meanest thing Survivor's ever done, and basically the even meaner version of the blood versus water first impressions twist. At the start of Palau, everyone initially lived on one beach, confused as to when or if they'd ever be sorted into tribes. Ian and Jolanda had immunity necklaces they won on day 1, and on day 2 it became readily apparent what those necklaces would be used for. They both got to be tribe captains and start out a schoolyard pick for tribes, alternating men and women until only one man and one woman remained unpicked, at which point they were to be unceremoniously sent home. It still boggles my mind that this twist was ever thought up, let alone approved. It's just such a huge waste of 2 casting spots. Now, you can argue that Wanda and Jonathan would have been early boots regardless, and I'm inclined to agree. But I don't think it's a hot take to say that every player should get the opportunity to have their torch snuffed at Tribal Council, not have their fate left in Karen's hands.
Okay, it is time to make the final selections. Karen, you're picking a guy. Make your decision.
Willard.
You should really never be eliminated from a $1 million game in the same way children select dodgeball teams, you know? Sure, Wanda and Jonathan should have ingratiated themselves into the group better. That way they would have been picked. But come on, no one could have seen this coming, and to this day, this remains Survivor's cruelest twist of all time. Let us pray to the Survivor gods they never top it. Got nothing else for ya. If you'd like to have instead of have not more Survivor videos, like and subscribe and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.